You good, Greg? You good? Do not sweat it. I mean, my streaming time is kind of flexible, you know. I put down 8 in the schedule, and I try to stream, you know, in such a way as that I like I try to always be going to about 9:50 to 10, as though I started around 8. But yeah, I'm not gonna insist that you suggest me for people's raids. It's chill. It's chill. Also, like, I'm tired enough. I'm tired enough that it's hard to work up actual anger. I'm not gonna get on your case over not suggesting me about for a raid. It's no biggie. Thank you for the subscription, Greg, for 31 months. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I hope you're doing well. Also, it's a good time to remember big challenges. We all love big challenges. Ugh. It was live for... Oh my goodness. Were you doing Detective Pair? I got you that... So for anyone who doesn't know, last week or something, early this week, last week, I managed to stop in for a Barry stream, and he was playing a game called, oh, okay, so you saw the, no spoilers for anyone in chat, Greg, but I mean, no one's in chat right now, but no spoilers for VOD people. But yeah, the other week I was able to catch a Barry stream live, and specifically he was playing a game called Detective Penguin, and that game doesn't really function per se. It is held together with duct tape and a dream, but also no, Detective Penguin, Paula, please. But also, it might be a life-changing experience that I think everyone should get and play. I can't get and stream it because it's on. I don't have a device to do that with. But yeah, check out Detective Penguin, or at the very least, go check out Barry's VOD of it at Barry Was Streaming. Yeah, it's very wonky, but it's also very funny. So. Stealth, have you watched Barry's Detective Penguin VOD, or have you streamed Detective Penguin?
To catch it. He's not. If he was streaming, but
if he was streaming, well, I mean, give me 1 second here. I think I have a way to help you. How has your day been, Stealth?
Markedly better than yesterday.
That's good. You did literally tell me that yesterday was one of the worst days you've ever had. So, like, something along those lines, for sure. Hump, 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 hump. Oh my goodness. Can my computer work? I'd love it if my computer worked. Also, someone tells me if the stream crashes, because we are ostensibly doing art in, you know, what I hope is a minute, but we'll see how this thing I'm trying to do goes. But yeah, Lord, also, this is the thing too, right? It's like Barry was playing that, and he was all like, "Yeah, I do a lot of detective animal games." I don't even think of it like that, because yeah, there's Frog Detective, and he's almost certainly done some other ones. But also, like, honestly, Detective Penguin, Duck Detective, I didn't even think about that. But they all have their own vibe, and I didn't watch a lot of Duck Detective just because I thought Frog Detective was funnier, and Detective Penguin was funnier. All right, okay. Oh, it is. They have added it to. They have added Detective Penguin to Mac. Well, that's good. Dun 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 dun. Well, I will get that later then. Let me see this. All right. I love that. I mean, who knows if it'll actually work on Mac, but who knows if it'll work at all, so there's that. Alright, well now Stealth owns the game as well, so he can check that out later. And we can finally start with It's a funny game, Stealth, you have to trust me on this. Apparently Gam streamed it originally. And, well, not streamed it, I think he just played it, and then he was like, Barry, play this, and he was valid for that, so. But yeah. I have to make a comic. My name is not just hyperbole, believe it or not. Sometimes I make comics, so. Stealth, do you like drawing?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it, but I still like it.
I do forget that you send little doodles you do at work often, but I count that as a good thing, because like then I'm pleasantly surprised by them when you post a little doodle. Comical, yes. Honestly, hopefully it's I'm not gonna lie, wasn't super happy with my last comic, but I needed it both for story beats and just to get a comic done, so. This is why I'm not doing any Alex stuff as a comic. Because, like, Wallop Brothers, I put it out, and I'm just like, yeah, you know, I mean, it's not the best, but it's a funny little comic, but with Alex, it's just like, I want the art to be good. And it's hard. It's hard to do. We are our own worst critic. Now, my worst critic is Keith. Keith is an asshole. So mean.
What the fuck is Keith? Like, also, what the fuck kind of name is Keith? I'm sorry, JD Keith's up there. I just don't like the name Keith.
If your name is Keith, think about your life for a minute.
No, it's not your fault. It is what it is.
Okay, but also,
unless Keith is your chosen name. In
well,
which
no,
case, what the fuck?
No. I was going to go kind of the opposite direction, where, like, could you imagine a transphobic person named like Keith or whatever, and I'm like, I don't want to hear shit about, you should have already changed your name. Your name should have been different years ago. Don't get on other people's case just because they're, you know, becoming more comfortable, just because they're rectifying their identity to make themselves, you know, just all in all have a better life. Keith K. Kieferson, well, that can't be someone's name for a lot of reasons. I'm gonna say that right now. So, I don't know if Trump thought of that. I don't know if Trump thought of at least one of those reasons when they posted their name, but too on theme. Lord. Is Dilbert a real name? I'm unaware. Is Dilbert real?
All I know about Dilbert is the guy who draws into fucking
also a transphobe, so. Yeah. But like, that's the thing, right? That the author of that comic is an asshole, but also Dilbert is a bad name for someone. I say as someone with the name Dylan, and
Dylan.
Is that Dylan? This is what I'm saying. Okay, I need to watch Aliens, but more importantly, I need to watch Predator. Both so then I can watch Prey and the new one coming out, because I heard Prey was super good, and then they're making a new one and the Predator is the protagonist, which we love to see it. But then also I need to watch it because it's the movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger goes, Dylan, you son of a bitch. They got you pushing pencils. And I say that a good amount of times, despite having never seen it, so. Anyway, so I'm gonna have children drink alcohol in this part of the comic, so. I did look up if that was illegal before. It's like, hey, can I put this in a comic, or is someone, or is like the cops gonna come after me? They're gonna be like, kids can't drink. What are you talking about? It's illegal. But no, you can have kids drink in your comics. It's chill. Stealth, have you seen the Last of Us movie?
The series?
No, oh wait. Oh, I was thinking of of Until Dawn. I got those two conflated.
Oh.
Yeah. I did this question has fallen apart because I'm not counting on you seeing the series, and also that's not as funny because I've heard the series is actually pretty good. So, you know, not as much meat on those bones. I remember watching people play through The Last of Us when I first started watching YouTube, and I was like, this game's real cool. And then they made a sequel, and that's a whole other kettle of fish. And then they've re-released it, maybe even more than Skyrim has. So, that's fun. Still, how many versions of Last of Us do you own?
One, I think, for it's either PS3 or PS4, and then after that,
so like literally the first one.
Yeah.
Lily. Lord, here's the thing, right? I know nothing about well, I know like 2 things about Last of Us 2, and there are a whole bunch of gamers being awful because gamers, yada yada yada. But what I was absolutely here for was people criticizing the end of us to The Last of Us 1. Oh my goodness, should I not? Val! Val, should I not talk about the ending to Last of Us, the original?
From like 8 million years ago.
I know, but still. Quickly, before I do, like, you know, I introduce myself to people who might already know who I am. But do any of you care about Last of Us spoilers? Donkey Kong 64, I need to stream that game, and Banjo-Kazooie. Rare games have a great aesthetic. I don't think they've done that aesthetic as well in DK Bonanza, the new one coming out for Switch 2, but it still looks, I think, much better than so many DK games after Rare and before this one. Talk about the operatic version of the ending. Is there an operatic version of... Is there a musical for Last of Us? I would not be surprised. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about Last of Us. Welcome on in, Raiders. I'm Cahill. I do art. I have a comic. You can read it for free on my website, and also... It's good. It's good. It's good. Stealth is my say I'm good. Say I'm a good boy. Stealth. Stealth. Tell me I'm a good boy. Stealth.
Boy.
Oh. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. I don't know if I'm getting Bonanza, but honestly I should play more DK. I have all the DK games for SNES. I should, and I've only played through the 2 of them. I need to play through 3. But yeah, Donkey Kong's a funny guy. Anyway, so what I was here for, I did not really care about the Last of Us conversation concerning 2 and just, you know, and people being toxic, and also it also probably having some writing issues. But
there were reasons to not like it, but there are
but
reasons
people chose bad reasons.
Yeah.
But conversely, what I am here for is people criticizing the ending to Last of Us 1, where Joel is meant to be the bad guy for killing a group of people whose plan is to make an antifungal vaccine, which I have been led to believe doesn't exist now in modern medicine, by killing the one immune person known about in their post-apocalyptic society, and having a vet develop it. Like, no, if I had traveled with this girl and gotten to know her and then learned that was their plan, I also would have gone back in and rescued her. That was the right thing to do, objectively. So, I would literally have Ellie try to sneeze on people before I went and cut her open. I would have been like, Ellie, spit in my mouth, honey. Ellie, spit in my mouth, please. If this might work, who knows?
Do the opposite of clipping that.
Yeah, release that. But yeah, welcome on Inval 12 Warcraft. I hope you had a good time with the. I mean, hey, if you like the cartoony aesthetic of rare games, I would actually recommend my comic. I fucking love cartoons. Cartoons are good. Stealth, name one of your favorite cartoons. Go.
Steven Universe is the first one that came to mind for some
Fire.
reason.
Hey, I've been opening Barry's meme parlor a lot, and there's become like a meta meme where people keep having discussions in meme parlor when it's meme parlor. But also, recently, more recent than that, what has been happening is I keep opening it, and the discussion they're having is about Steven Universe, and I'm just like, that makes me laugh a lot. Honestly,
yeah, there's a rumor of like possibly new content, questionable in what form, but like
Gotcha.
new Steven Universe stuff coming out at some point in the near future.
Post Steven Universe, not post future, as in like, you know, post our future, post Steven Universe
I'm aware.
future. Don't know. That's fair. I'm kind of way more deeply into the concept of Steven Universe future than I am in the original series. Like, even barring anything I might have to say about the original series future, because burnt out, gifted Destiny child who's already saved the universe from an alien empire is a really unique concept, and from what I saw of future, they did a pretty dang good job at it. So I feel like it had a lot of the strengths of the original and less of the weaknesses, and again, more original concept. So, and also Spinel, speaking of cartoons, Spinel. So, you know, who can hate Spinel other than, you know, the people she tried to kill? But that's fine. It's chill. So. Oh my goodness. I don't know how much I've definitely talked about this before. I was like, I've talked about like, you know, criticizing the series before, even though again it's good. But I will always stand on the fact that it's so wild. It's so wild how everyone is just like, no, Rose is still the best, except for me as an audience member who's like, no, Rose was an asshole, and then Steven, her son, who's like, no, Rose was an asshole.
Well, I get it for them.
They say that you could say they have rose tinted glasses. And anyway, we're gonna end the stream with that. So,
like, I can't even be mad because that's literally the thing.
Yeah. You would just like, maybe Pearl would go from like completely infatuated to just like, no, I like her, but you know, I don't feel like anyone. Maybe Sapphire, but we don't see her too often, so she's somewhere in the subconscious. What was I thinking of? You know, I'm thinking that I'm gonna look into getting a new PC before my birthday. So when I think about birthday presents to ask for, one, I'm reminded that apparently they're releasing the full original Ben 10 as a DVD box set, which I would like to get original Alien Force and Omniverse. But then also, I'm just like, you know what cartoon I should have the complete series for? Ed, Edd, and Eddy. I'd love to have Ed, Edd, and Eddy. That shit ruled.
Yup.
But go on.
Oh, I was just agreeing.
It's a good cartoon. I really don't feel like, and like I've seen, maybe I'm wrong, you know, maybe it is nostalgia, but it really doesn't feel like many other series during that time or after got that kind of vibe, or did that kind of thing where it was literally just
Nor did it seem like anything died.
Yeah, well, I feel like I think there were a couple Cartoon Network shows Uh, I, I think it's Craig of the Creek. There's that, and then there's also Clarence. I think those two were kind of trying for something similar, but I don't think they did as good a job, because, like, Ed and Eddie had this really cool.
No, because like the main characters aren't shitheads.
That's fair. Well, my thing more than that is just kind of having kids basically have the run of a place, approaching adults with like a Tom and Jerry or Peanuts kind of thing, where like you don't really see they're around apparently. Yeah, exactly. But they're not like a character or a thing that is in every episode. And rather, the kids are just kind of left in the sandbox where they just do wacky stuff. The closest thing that comes to mind to me is Gumball. Gumball's pretty close, and it is also another fucking fantastic cartoon. But that definitely also kind of has its own thing going on, which, again, is probably for the best, but still. Makes me miss Ed and Eddie more. That is for sure. Man, I know I was the one who decided to make my comic a comic strip, but it's hard squeezing things in to a comic strip. Stealth, what's your opinions on Garfield? Strong, weak, positive, negative?
I vibe with the fucking cat.
I can chill with him. I remember the Garfield show, and I think there's been multiple Garfield shows. There was one that was like 3D animated, and it kind of had the thing I was just talking about with Ed and Eddie, but less of, you know, there are no parents. I mean, Garfield's a cat; he doesn't have parents. But more so, it's just
This just in cats don't have parents.
But more so the fact that like he would just be hanging out and get up to stuff, and it would get progressively more insane. So, if anything, the Garfield show might have been more like more like regular show than I originally gave it credit for. So, because like Garfield would be like eating pizza, and then like aliens would come down, and he'd be like, "Well, I guess I have to kill the aliens now." So. Man, fucking. My
you know how Jinpod sometimes hangs out on that cliff?
Yeah.
Outside the camp?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit him and see what happens.
What if he falls off instantly over? I always have to look back. It also. Oh, I'm sorry. My Twitch chat does this thing where I do not see the latest messages. I apologize.
It says Jindahad moved to the rhyme chain peaks when I started hitting him.
Still makes me cry. Delete the launch. I love Steve. Yeah, like I have my criticisms of Steven Universe Void, but I feel like that's much like Rose. Otherwise, there's nothing but positive things to say about it, and I'm just like, well, hold on. But I also think at this point in time, we'll go on.
I was gonna say I will always praise it for being, especially for its time, if not still, the most openly and unapologetically queer cartoon.
That is one of the best things. Like that's not. There's nothing to criticize there because it is just that. If anything, that is one reason I will bring up any critique of it, because otherwise it earns its place in a cartoon hall of fame for being a legitimately important piece of art. You know what I mean? Like, if you know, if you don't kind of talk about the one or two things it missed the mark on, it is otherwise just like, no, it gets all the gold medals, and we're gonna put it on a special frame, in this museum right here, and everyone will get to go back and look at it, and it's very nice. So.
Come live with us in the palace. Come let us adore you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for the entire Steven Universe series. But yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry I wasn't looking at chat. sometimes what my mobile Twitch monitor will do is just like stop. I don't know why, maybe because I accidentally like hovered my finger, and then it won't tell me that there are new messages. It will just look like no one is typing. So, and then I feel bad. I would disagree with that, Void. I wouldn't say it's 10 out of 10, as close to a perfect cartoon as one can get, because I think like we have like Avatar, and there are I could go through a bunch of cartoons and talk about them being near perfect for a million different reasons, but
it definitely has like issues with pacing and stuff. And
yeah,
whatnot.
I would even say that about Phineas and Ferb, and I love Phineas and Ferb too. But I was literally thinking today about how good Phineas and Ferb songs are. But, like, I mean, you could literally 9 out of 10 for Steven Universe, easy. But being just like perfect score, I'd be like, wait, hold on.
I will say it's a 10 out of 10 in my heart.
Yeah.
But
I don't know how much I've said this. I love the art style of the show. Even though sometimes, and this is one thing that is good to point out, they got wild with the proportions of the characters for whatever reason. I think that's part of the one major criticism is like there were clearly some production stuff they had trouble with, and was not addressed ever. But other than that, the art of any one episode I will look at and be like, this show is pretty. So that and the music, just like one good Steven Universe episode is a damn good episode of just television and animation. So what can you say besides that? I would rewatch it honestly, just to be like, let me try and go through a and see what actual notes I have as I literally. But yeah, no, Avatar is such a good show. If anything, the only thing it's missing is being openly gay. that even the creators have had a hard time following it up. So, and I don't think, as much as people love to pretend Korra is the worst thing that's happened on the planet, I don't think that's true. I just think the original is everyone's favorite. So, don't be mean to Korra just because her fucking older brother is famous. Damn it.
like, I know people who like Korra, but are just like, you have to hand it to the OG.
Like, that's what I'm saying. If Korra came out first, it would be regarded as an absolutely fantastic show. Maybe that had some troubles, and then afterwards Avatar would come out, and everyone would be like, well, this is the greatest show to ever exist. So, I'm mean to Nickelodeon. Everyone should be mean to Nickelodeon. Fucking... And... You know how, like, Cartoon Network shit the bed and was just like, okay, so the only show we show now is Teen Titans Go. Which I'm not even hating on Teen Titans Go, but you should never pick...
I didn't like it.
Even if one of the networks was like, we only play Avatar The Last Airbender on loop forever, I'd be like, you should probably show a different show. But, like... Nickelodeon did that, and the shows they chose were SpongeBob, which is fine, I guess, even though they probably should have ended it when the creator wanted to, and Fairly Odd Parents, which quickly declined much faster than SpongeBob.
You didn't even throw in like Danny Phantom or something?
No, on base Nickelodeon, it was SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Her. They, like, whenever they show Nicktoon stuff, they're just like, look at all these shows. And I was like, you currently only air 2 of these shows on your network at any one time. And it is the one everyone would expect you to, and a bad one.
That's toxic.
I don't know. Heck, I used to be a big Fairly Odd Parents fan, but it had a fall off, and that was before they started jumping sharks, and they jumped a lot of sharks.
One of them being Cosmo.
Yeah. Cosmo. I don't know what, besides him being apparently an asshole, I don't know what Butch Hartman was on when like they flanderized Cosmo and Wanda, because like I feel like part of the point of the original is that Timmy's parents are fucking awful, and then Cosmo and Wanda are a loving, healthy relationship who are there for Timmy and grant him wishes that end up going wrong. But then they just hate each other. Now, getting Cosmo pregnant, that was the right choice, but... Also, I mean, if we're talking about all these, like, goated shows and their follow-up series, it is important to remember that the guy who made Foster's also made Wander Over Yonder, another show. Because I watched that show for a good long bit and never heard anyone say anything about it, and then the series ended without me realizing. And then everyone was like, yo, Wander Over Yonder, and I'm like...
Well, it was over yonder. No one saw him.
I'm going to stop. I'm going to murder you. I would love it if you were...
always want to kill me when I'm right.
You're not. I love the idea of someone using that in like a core argument of just like they clearly killed this person. They're like, nuh-uh, it was over yonder. No one saw it. It was fine. So.
Hey, here's the thing. A jury would fucking buy that.
Of course they would. People are stupid. That's why they only watched Wander Over Yonder after it was taken off the air.
Oh, I wonder why they didn't make any more of the show.
Exactly. Honestly, that's... Lord, I really try to be positive. And I want to stress so much. If I meet a person on the street, I assume the best of them, benefit of the doubt.
You wicked should not.
Hey, Stealth, let me finish the sentence. Let me promise you. I've recently gotten the very firm, rooted belief that humanity as a whole is really so dumb. Widely very dumb.
Yeah,
like
intrinsically.
Just very... I know you could be like, well, yeah, mob mentality. Not even that. Not even like mob mentality. Just such a level.
There is something about the human condition that is like negatively correlated with intelligence.
And again, person to person, I will assume the best in you, and you'll have to try really hard to like shake my belief, because I do believe people at their heart are good. As a collective, though, really stupid. I can't stress enough. Really started believing this. So.
And I am not excluding myself from that either. I see the shit I do.
I'm very dumb. I will easily admit that. But that's the thing. I'm dumb, but then I see people, groups of people make even dumber decisions, and I'm just like, well, wait a minute. Also, I wanted to put a window here. It is too small. Too small for window. Alright.
For my arc tempered radial armor, I have decided to give myself the tint of a fruit roll-up wrapper.
Can you name yourself? Can you name the armor Toucan Sam? I know he does Fruit Loops and not Fruit Roll-Ups, but
no, the name is Resplendent Raymond.
Oh, that's even better. Speaking of good cartoons, everybody loves Raymond, a show I've never watched.
What? Also not a cartoon.
Did you ever get, like, I don't want to say faked out, because I knew the nanny was a live action show, right? But did you ever see the intro and just ask yourself, like, why isn't this the show? Why doesn't it all look like this?
No, I can't say that I did.
Why not, Stealth?
I don't know, I just didn't.
Hey, should I draw like a furry for this? For this comic, YM? just with big jaws. I'm talking about.
If you want your comic to do well.
What animal should he be?
Oh, he.
Yes. Well, okay. So.
Bear.
Okay, fair enough. How many people are sexually attracted to Pete from Disney? Pete.
There's a non-zero chance that number is non-zero in this call.
Oh, were you playing Kingdom Hearts and you were just like, oh, Pete?
No, Kingdom Hearts was not my awakening.
I didn't say it was your awakening, but I was saying, did that version of Pete do it for you afterwards?
The Heartless jumpsuit was not a good look.
Wait, he's got zippers in weird places in that.
Meaning everywhere.
Yeah. That's a hoy big. Yeah. So, do you remember the DreamWorks, before DreamWorks decided to make shitpost for a living? Do you remember this DreamWorks movie, Sinbad?
Nope. Not even a little bit.
Gotcha. Never mind.
Wait, is it like a fish movie?
No, it's not a fish movie. It's a hot person early '90s animated movie. It is basically a companion film to El Dorado, which you probably know at least by reputation.
Yeah.
So. Fucking love Sinbad. I saw it once when I was a kid, so I should probably rewatch it, but it does seem good. And you know we love swashbuckling around here. Though if I'm not mistaken, it probably doesn't have too much to do with the original Sinbad, because I believe the original Sinbad was about many adventures, and this one is like just the one he does.
Arkfeld scary.
Arkfeld scary. I've seen it like a dozen times.
Yeah, tempered Arkfeld. Hit damage.
Were you the one pointing out that the Raidou they have in there now is currently just a 3-star quest and not a 5-star quest?
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah. I was about to say, is that going to be scary? Because fucking because like I'm already thinking about how many times when we were playing that, it was just like, well, if that point blank hyper beam hits me, I'm dead. So make sure not to get hit by it. I await 5-star arch-tempered Arkveld. Not Arkveld.
Yeah.
That too, but also Raidou. So
it can just snipe you from across the map.
Yeah.
Why is it not tracking? My Lizard GPS is like fully broken.
It does that. I love the secrets. Also, they're a little, they're all, you know. Why, yes, sir. We are 2 adults, say a 12 and 11-year-old. I love how the point of this... So the point of this is that they've just gotten back from an adventure. They're like, we're going to the pub. A grizzly bear bouncer steps in front and be like, hey, are you too old enough to be in this bar? While having one brain cell, says, why, of course, sir, allow us to give you our ID. And then brings out an image crudely drawn in crayon. And the real joke after that is that the grizzly bear still does let them into the bar to drink. So
bears can't read.
They can't. That is, well, that's problematic. Technically, Walt and Willie are the same species as... I can't... Well, you're not a bear. And in so many ways, you're not a bear still.
Well, yeah. I can read. I can't count though.
Oh, that's fair. Big is cute. Yeah. Also, if you want to know about how the government of this island works, subscribe to my Patreon. That's half joking, half serious, because you can find that out on the Patreon. But also, you know, I'm not gonna make you. I'm not your dad.
You're not?
I'm sorry. I met your mother when you were very young, and I never wanted to correct you.
And you choose now to?
Well, yeah, because I'm not a fucking narc. So.
That does not line up with what you said.
I'm digging around in his pocket. Life has many doors, Ed boy.
Then Rolf hits you with the fucking Gatling fist of a farmer's son.
Gummo Gummo no shepherd's son. No,
Oh yeah,
like,
this shepherd.
yeah. The son of a shepherd. I don't mean to always just be like I like catharsis and I don't know edge or whatever, but also the episode where Ed is pissed off because, you know, he has a pebble in his shoe. And he scares Sarah because of that. That's a good episode. Because so often Ed is very nice to his sister, who is awful to him. So seeing her even second guess that, even for a minute, it's a good time. Also, the Ed and Eddie movie is pretty good too. So.
Oh yeah.
It's a good time. Good time is that series. I always like the one, and I mean, we're pirate themed around here, so who would have guessed? I like the boat one. Remember? They get like an inner tube and they start doing boat tours. That one's good.
Yeah, and then the canker pirates attack.
Ironically, I don't like the canker pirates part, because I'm just like, no, they had a good thing going. Why? But...
Boat nerd.
Boat nerd. How could you do this? Canker sisters, how could you do this? That was a perfectly good boat. Also, you know, Double D playing slide guitar, so... I never got that as a kid, and I was like, oh, I get it. Because their names are Ed, Ed, and Eddie, and I was like, why don't they call him Ed? Because fucking... Because to help make sure you know who is who, the one with 2 D's in his name is just called Double D. I'm like, and also he has some kind of growth on his head. Also, you know the other one that was good and makes me... When we were talking about goated cartoon shows, obviously Courage, which is another series I should rewatch / get on DVD, came up. But, like, Ed and Eddie had a few episodes like that where they had, like, aliens. And they, you know, do you remember that kind of stuff they did? I think they had a few episodes like that.
Yeah, vaguely.
Where everyone swore there were fucking pod people and aliens walking about. There's that one where Ed becomes an alien and starts gluing people to his wall using cheered up cereal.
I vividly remember that one.
Terrifying in a similar way, but also different.
But like the one that you're talking about with like the aliens and pod people and whatnot, it's conjuring images in my head of like them all being out in the cul-de-sac at night. And yes. I can't remember that like commonly happening in an episode.
No.
So that's like sticking out in my head.
I think there are 2 different episodes like this, but one of them ends and you see that this cul-de-sac is being taken up into space by a UFO that is carrying it. So that's a cliffhanger for you. I think that was part of like an event Cartoon Network did though, where like a lot of their episodes kind of had like Twilight Zone's endings. So, because I think there were a few Cartoon Network shows like that had episodes that ended. Go on.
You know what that is? Really fucking cool.
Yeah. Man, it's almost like having a variety of shows created by a bunch of different passionate and creative people is better than marketing one show to hell and back. So. I love the meme currently going around where it's someone asking AI users if they want the AI to fuck their wife, like if they need help. It's like, do you need help with that, bud? You need help thinking? Yeah, okay. I'm here for that energy because fucking how about we not kill creativity, please? Thank you. I know that's a wild and original take from yours truly, but listen, I'm an outside the box thinker. I think the human spirit and creativity should not be diminished. Shockingly. Man, I hope more good news rather than bad. Also, speaking of good news, let us talk about this real quick. Not to get too real, but I think this is a cool thing that happened today and should be celebrated. I keep forgetting it. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name. Mozen Mandawi, yeah. He a Columbia student. He got taken custody in the scary way that has happened to a few people now. And guess what? You mean
fighting a genocide?
Yeah, exactly. Well, more specifically, the method by which he was taken into custody, more so than the reason. But yeah, you get the point.
It is that pipeline, though.
Yeah, exactly. But he was released today by a judge's order, being like, "Hey, this is bullshit," and it's like that's something to celebrate. Anyway, different thing to celebrate. Back to cartoons, because don't want to get too muddied in current event waters, because that's so easy to do. We all do it all the time, I'm sure. I hope Coyote versus Acme versus Coyote versus Acme. I forget the order. Hope that gets released soon, because if you haven't seen Stealth, did you ever see The Day the Earth Blew Up or nah? You said you were going to...
I don't go to theaters.
Keep forgetting that. I'm sorry. Because I remember you being like, yeah, I'd want to see it, and I was like, I forget why he did it. So I'm sorry about that. Yeah, the people who did that, they got the other one Warner Brothers was trying to can for no good reason. So hope that comes out soon. We love good news around here. We love good entertainment. It's all a good time. Is this a Sonic R's song? Let me see. I think so. I think it's just also on an album with other Sonic soundtracks I've added to a playlist. I've heard not good things about Sonic R, but also speaking of other good entertainment, good news, I need to get Sonic Riders for GameCube, but also they've released footage of the new Sonic Racing game, which everyone already had known was going to have Jet and like Extreme Gear in it, and they released gameplay footage, and like it does just kind of look like when you're playing with the Extreme Gear that's just Sonic Riders. So anyone into those games, you are in luck. I am also kind of in the camp of people saying, well, you should have just made another Sonic Riders game then, but you know, you can have some go-karts too. I was literally just saying how I've heard that Sonic R isn't good, But also, I know in that game, you have, like, Sonic and Tails, like, running, but then, like, Amy's in a car and Eggman is in his floating machine. That's a good gimmick. Having different people that can use different vehicles. So, who knows? Stealth, what's your favorite racing game?
I mean, like, the entire fucking Mario Kart series comes to mind first, but...
But they're in hot water right now, so...
No, I wouldn't say that. Look, that game looks, like, legitimately great.
I know. I feel like people... and I don't want to rile anyone up, because it is kind of bullshit, and no one can afford more expensive games in current day, right? But also, I would pay full price for that specific game, Mario Kart World. Inflation does happen. Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, it looks like the value proposition is there.
Yes. Inflation does happen. It looks like a good game, but also I can agree that that is a bad game to set a new, higher price point precedent with. You know what I mean? It's just like, maybe...
He was always going to get there. The problem is that wages are never going to keep up.
Yeah, exactly. It's like... And also, I don't know what makes it $80 specifically, again, besides inflation. But, you know, maybe like how I kind of say, like, they could have used, like, Monster Hunter World models for Wilds. They probably could have cut some corners with Mario Kart World, ironically, so... What corners? I don't know. I don't have the game. I don't know when I'm getting the game, but... yeah. Just for my buck, with the kind of stuff I like in games, I would actually... I'd be like, you can drive around across courses in an interconnected thing in the Mushroom Kingdom, and I'm like, I would like... I actually, now that you mentioned that, I would like that very much. That does that...
Fuck, that does sound like the coolest thing ever that you can put in a Mario. Also, I can be a cow, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like, open world Mario Kart, it's like, I don't know, and then they show it off, and it's like, actually, now that I'm looking at it... And then also you can be a cow. Well, I mean, fucking just bend my arm, why don't you? Fucking. But yeah, if everywhere, yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, again, I don't want to get anyone riled up. If you are upset about those prices, you are valid, because again, like Stealth said, wages were never going to keep up. And it's bullshit to be like, no, pay more for the thing you're using to distract yourself. But like, I have seen a few people be like, and also the game doesn't even look that good, and I'm like, well, now hold on.
No, you're wrong about that.
Well, now let's wait a minute.
No, like, those release titles look just absolutely fucking ridiculously good.
Juice did send me a TikTok where it's like, don't get consoles on release anymore. They're expensive, and also, like, if you wait like a year, then there will be like enough games to validate it, and that I can get behind. But that's not exclusive to Switch. That can go for any, you know.
Oh, what, are you gonna buy
console.
all those games at once?
That also that. Sure. Yeah. No. So that's like, again, I'm not trying. I want to, especially after I did fucking fake anger over man versus gorilla debate, I want to be so clear. If you look at the Switch prices and you go, that's bullshit, you're valid on a large degree for so many reasons. But also, I do think the games look good. So both of those can be true.
The gorilla is going to use its ult. What do you do?
Blue shell. Yeah. Also, I do love... Can I just say... yeah. It's a bit of both charm, for sure. Also, can I just say, by the way, I love how whenever I'm like... you know, like a new Nintendo game comes out and it's a little expensive, and I'm just like, I'll wait till it goes on sale, and everyone's like, huh, Nintendo games on sale, whatever, and I'm like, hey.
Yeah, I mean,
wait.
the game stuff, I guess.
Yeah, well no, hey, stop, wait, let me finish, I promise. Hey, guys, there's this neat little thing. You might not have heard of it yet. They're called used game stores. If you wait maybe a month, new games will pop up there with a solid $10 to $20 slapped off of them. I promise you, it happens all the time. Yes, even with Nintendo games, I promise you that. You're gonna have to trust. I know this sounds like a fantasy I'm selling. Yes.
No.
What's up?
I got a question because I legitimately don't know how this is gonna work.
What's up?
For that purpose, like, aren't the new like physical carts for Switch 2
going
to be like
yeah.
download codes? So they're probably gonna be like a one and done code, and then you can't resale it?
This is the kind of stuff. The C button, I think, is actually more funny than it is outrageous. But like, there are some BS things where I'm like, Nintendo, why are you trying to do that? That is one of them. Maybe it's because they're trying to make it so that the Switch itself isn't carrying as, like, they can get more without having to, like, put it on their hardware. I don't know. It's weird that they're doing that. Honestly, it probably would have been better if they hadn't said anything for a while with the price points and everything. I hope it's not a one and done thing. If it is, then
well, actually, I think it's better for them to pull the Band-Aid off all at once.
That is fair. So that way, by the time it comes out, people are just like, oh, fine.
all that's left is the positivity for the
for the new games.
As we've admitted, the great looking games.
Yeah, like just like, but yeah, no, I don't. Again, it's not your game. Here's where I'll agree with the people criticizing this stuff. I don't actually need to know what Mario's pores look like, and I don't need to feel the texture of his mustache. Like, if you want to use...
Okay, maybe you don't.
If you want to use some slightly lower quality models to bring that... But also, this is the thing, though. This is the thing that gets me, right? Because, like, I can say that, but then also, some of the people who are saying that and complaining about the price are also the people who would point at, like, a super, you know, low graphics game and be like, the Nintendo Switch version, like, being just like, oh, 30 FPS, you know? It's like, they did it. They got the better hardware, and now it costs a lot, so... there's a lot. It's very nuanced is the thing. Again, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. It is... There is a lot to the conversation, which is one reason I'm kind of saying this, because some people are acting like it's just one way or another. It's not. It can be both. So, but yeah, listen, the only company this doesn't apply to, and I've said this before, is Nintendo, because I feel like not Nintendo, Game Freak, Pokemon, because, like, here's the thing, you don't need amazing graphics. I would still like the games to look pretty, and every time I see, like, water texture in Legends Arceus, I'm just like, fucking, you couldn't have done like some Wind Waker cell shader. I would love a cartoon style Pokemon game. You couldn't do that. I'm begging you, Game Freak, please. There's gotta be something, please. Honestly, if every game wants to start looking like Wind Waker, I'll buy it. I'll go for it, so. So, for this little bear character I'm doing right here, he will be wearing an eye patch, which is how you'll know that One Piece is ending next week. So I hope everyone's enjoyed One Piece. Start reading my comic instead.
Well, One Piece is ended. I can now die.
Oh no. Lord. I hope the world's in a better place when One Piece ends, because, oh sweet Lord. We're gonna be... It might be like the bubonic plague. I'm not joking. Like, One Piece will end, and everyone will be like, why is everything gone to shit? I don't know. Fucking a billion people have just lost the will to live. We, we need something new real quick. Was it in 2 pieces? Lord, oh my lord. I really hope the chapter the One Piece is in, one, I can read it without someone showing me what the One Piece is. I'll probably know before I read the chapter, but still, as long as I don't see it, then it's fine. Also, though...
Frame 1 spoils you.
I know. Also, I do hope it's, like, they just show it. Just show. Don't tickle. What have I been saying recently? Don't tickle my balls. Just show it. I don't need 7 frames. I don't need 7 frames of Robin reading about it, and then Luffy saying, whoa, and then Nami being like, can we sell it? And everyone doing a bunch of stuff for 7 And I'm not, this isn't even an anime thing. The anime has bad pacing. The manga's been
Never
fine.
show it.
But yeah, exactly.
Laughs.
I need them to step onto Laugh Tale, and then they're just like, that's the one, because that is what it looks like in the flashback we've seen with the Roger Pirates, is that you get onto Laugh Tale, and it's like, oh, there's the One Piece. So, with that in mind, they better get to that fucking island and show me what the One Piece is. I don't know if there's a way, and I mean, Stealth will probably be like, there isn't. I don't know if there's a way they could be like, well, the One Piece was friendship, but also, we are.
That'd be very, very satisfying.
But well, that's what I'm saying. Is there a way to do it that it isn't wildly unsatisfying? But also, at this point, between Oda and the story itself that he has written, there's been too much of, no, that is a physical object sitting on a physical island somewhere. For it to be like, no, it's the metaphysical lesson that we've learned sailing the 7 seas.
My head just flashed to a random giant physical item that's intrinsic to the series.
No. Can you DM it to me? No. Do you want to DM it to me? Because I will happily read it and not give spoils on stream.
Whenever you said like, oh, here's this giant, here's this thing this physical thing that exists.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, my brain's just like.
I don't know what the fill in the blank is. Stuff. I'm sorry.
Well, I just DM'd you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had Discord open. It was the thing. even larger, just even larger than that one. Just a super big one. Or I don't know if that would work either. Here's the thing. I do believe in Oda, is the thing. Unironically, because it's not just because like, oh, because the manga is good. No, because he's been thinking about it for 20 years. And yes, the manga's good. So like, I know the man can write, and when you think about something for 20 years and you keep dropping hints without telling anyone for 20 years, then you probably know what you're doing. I think he's the only one who can do it, specifically because he's the only one who actually knows what the fucking thing is. Lord, I actually don't think there's been a cooler picture in the past decade than Oda at the One Piece Netflix premiere. Do you know what I'm talking about, Stealth? Do you know that picture?
Nope.
Yeah, let me send it to you real quick. Because no one really knows what Oda looks like. They have these. No, he
may have a fish head.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They have some pictures of him, but also apparently they're not really like. Either they're of a different guy who they've just had, they've just been passing as Oda for the sake of memes, or it just isn't look like him. Anyway, this picture stuff. I don't think there's been a cooler picture in the past decade than this one. So, I know this gets used a lot, but you can feel the aura coming off that picture. It is intense. If y'all don't know, Oda was at the premiere of One Piece Netflix series, and no one knew he was there. And they took a picture of him just looking over the crowd, and the crowd doesn't know Oda is there, so they're just watching the show. Have a good night, Paul. I'll see you around. Yeah, and also he's holding a straw hat, so that's part of it. It's definitely part of it. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I don't exactly know where my comic is going, but I feel like that's the point of it. I'm not gonna be... I didn't literally start it with talking about the One Piece, so I don't have to. You can just try and make it as good as possible. I think I'm gonna send them to hell at one point, but we'll see when that is. I've been tempted to make a cosmological map of my little fantasy world for a while now. A map of reality. But who knows, maybe that'd be giving away too much. One pole vaulter that knocked down the bar with his dick. I think I was listening there. I think there's one My Brother and Me episode where they open it and Griffin is like, "Hey guys, listen. I know a man ruined his sporting career with his penis recently. We can't talk about that. Everyone's already talked about. Everyone's made the jokes already." So. Stealth, would you be proud or ashamed of that accomplishment if it happened to you?
What?
If you had worked your way up to an Olympic level, and then...
Oh! Wait, I know what you're talking about!
Yes.
Penis Man!
Penis Man, and then your penis ruined it for you?
Yeah, no, that would be horrific and mortifying, and also, hi, hello, I would... never mind, no, actually, I'm not gonna do that.
See, that's what I was thinking. I was like, is it a brag, though? Can you use it? It's like...
Oh, yeah, like, at a certain point, the hurt is gonna go down from it, it's gonna be a bad honor,
The first year, very bad. After that, you can go up to anyone you're trying to hit on and say, "Hey, do you want to know a fun fact about me?" Got a good picture of it.
Hey, I got Cahill, I need express permission for the horrible thing I'm about to say.
You know what? Sure, I'll write that blank check. Go ahead, Stone. What are you going to say? Go
Looks
on.
deep into your eyes. I got a pole you can bolt.
Oh my! That's not too bad. You gotta do better. Go on.
Yeah, but it's awful though.
No, I mean, yeah.
Like, it's bad. It's bad in the other sense. That's what I was asking for.
Well, you know,
It's
the real problem with that is that it's not particularly creative. Because I've been meaning to bring up that, like, apparently at the Olympic Village, everyone's fucking all the time. That's a big thing. That's a big way they spend their time, right? And I think like every pole vaulter would use that specific pickup line. Well, the guy who ruined his career with it has to have a better pickup line than that. So. That was another Bim Bam thing they talked about, which is apparently that the Olympic villages started using like cardboard beds for their athletes to sleep on, and they were like, "Well, it's because fucking we use a lot of shit here, so we're trying to be a little more environmentally friendly." And everyone's like, "It's like, no, it's so you can curb the amount of intercourse happening at your sporting event." And again, I think it was Griffin or Travis who made the excellent point, which is if you're an Olympic level athlete, not having a bed isn't going to stop you in that specific activity. And I do feel like that's an amazing point. If anything, if my goal was to try and calm that stuff down for the world's best athletes, I would go the opposite. I'd be like, this bed is so good, you'll be asleep in a couple minutes. Like, you'll start, and that's fine. We can't stop that. You're adults, go on. But just try not to be asleep on this bed. I promise you, it won't happen. So... pole that cost me a medal. That's what I'm... This pole would have won the gold. To get in the way. A pole that the Olympics can't handle. Alright. I'm glad I do art. I cannot handle being an athlete. I could fucking... like, 80 and 90-year-olds do art and get famous and rich from it, right? Athletes are just like, well, I'm 38 now. I guess I have to die. Like, fucking... oh, my body is useless. It's just like, no. I'd rather not do that, actually. I'd love to do my passion until I die. That sounds so much better. I don't know about how many 90-year-old boxers there are in there. Lord, this is not a modern event. It is something people don't want to talk about. The Mike Tyson Logan Paul fight.
Yeah, this is your extra book.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. So, Super Eye Patch Wolf did a video on it, and I talked about it because I thought it was legitimately an interesting analysis of, like, the way Logan Paul does fights to make himself look better, and how Mike Tyson specifically, like, he fits the bill that he is a retired boxer who has not been in the competitive scene for a hot minute now, but he's Mike Tyson. So people thought that was different, you know? That, like, even if he was older, he was still Mike Tyson. So it would be different. But then, you know, everyone gets old, so it's not a bad thing, but, you know. But, and also, apparently, Mike Tyson isn't that cool of a guy either. So, like, truly there was no winners in that scenario. But what are you gonna do about it? Listen, if anything, more gladiatorial sports, please. If there's gonna be awful famous people, the least we can do is put them through blood sports. You know? Well, let's refurbish that old Coliseum. I don't know how many. Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, you bring them to the set to, like, fucking shoot their apology video, and then it just, like, the set opens up and it's just an arena that they're trapped in.
The gorilla is there, ready. Oh, alligator wrestling, hell yeah.
20 horrific celebrities versus the zoo.
The zoo, the team of the zoo, made up of zoo animals. Oh, we got the nasty ones in here. Do not get it twisted. I was just gonna say, I don't know if any actual archaeologists feel this that way. You know, in American Godzilla, in a Godzilla vs. Kong, how they make a whole bit, and it is kind of cute, of Godzilla sleeping in the Coliseum like it's a cat bed. Does anyone else get horrified by that? The Coliseum is like a World Heritage Site. It's been there forever. It's one of the most famous like pieces of architecture in the world. And a massive lizard that could crush it, just accidentally, is constantly stepping into it and sleeping on top of it. Should we not be even a little concerned about this?
That's fine. It's chill.
What, are you going to stop him? Fucking, what are
honestly.
Oh, boo-hoo, we lost the Coliseum. Build a new one, why don't you? It's fine. Lord. Obviously it tends to work out, because in-game you need a way for hunters to be able to hunt monsters over and over again. But it is so wild, like, and this definitely happens in Wilds, that in Monster Hunter, there will be a new monster, that seems to be somewhat dangerous, and the guild is like, well, this could be a one-of-a-kind specimen. It is probably better to kill it first and ask that question afterwards. So
Correct.
This might be the
Dude is
only
dangerous
creature. This might be
and
the
scary.
Again, that's why there's so many Rathians or Raphalos. It's just like, yeah, they're dangerous, but like we know them. We got this. So Lord, I talked about Namiel a while ago. Another thing I learned about Monster Hunter World is about the Huntsman, which I feel like I might have seen before, but thought it was the player character. No, it's just it is a character who is a huntsman. He's dressed in Rathian armor, and he's cool as hell, from what I can see. He's cool as all get out. So, the two cutscenes I've seen of him are doing 1v1s with Nergigante and another Elder Dragon. I forget who. So, Velkhana, that was the other one. So, he was like, I'm an old man, and I'm just like, yeah, but you're fucking rule. Stolf, I know that unlike me, you prefer to craft new sets with each Monster Hunter adventure, but what is your favorite, like, reoccurring set that's been in many games that you like to see?
Oh, the fucking Guild Knight.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah,
So
that's my outfit.
That's your go-to. That's where it's like, if I'm just dressing for a hunt, that's what I put on. That's fair. I feel, well, I've explained this before, but I feel like I've gravitated toward Rathalos, both because I know he's in every game, and because I can mix it with other outfits, and because it gets attack up, and I mean, I like attacking. I like doing damage. So, name a time when having more attack in Monster Hunter isn't a good thing. Trick question.
Whenever you could negate minor wind pressure.
Minor wind pressure. Yeah, Cahill. What if I want earplugs level 1? You know, just. Wouldn't that be better? Lord, you're so stupid. Funny. We were talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 and all that junk so much, but I do want to reiterate, the game I am specifically most excited for, in terms of like new game coming out, is probably Metroid Prime 4, which was not the case a while ago, but you know, trying to get into more Metroid. They released some footage and it looked good, so I am happy that's of their big titles they're putting out. That's one that is specifically coming to Switch 1, so that's good. Also, I don't think I've nailed down on this so much. It's so wild that the first time we've seen Silksong in like 5 years is at a Nintendo event when like Xbox is like, no, that's ours. We promise that we have that's ours. Oh, yeah, it's ours. And so Nintendo's like, no.
Is it though?
Yeah, exactly. Is it? Hey, Microsoft, come here, my sweet child. Listen close. You might be one of the biggest, scummiest companies on the face of God's green earth, which has a video game section that has admittedly put out some massive titles. I want you to know that if you were to, I don't know, cancel Silksong, it would start raining blood. It would start. There'd be a rumbling. I wouldn't be part of it. I'd be far. I'd know it was coming. I'd be far away. I'd be far away. But you might think that you quote unquote own Silksong. I assure you, you do not.
Scary.
I wouldn't be the person fucking if I made $1 million at Microsoft and they're like, okay, Cahill, so your next assignment is we need you up on the main stage at our presentation, and we need you to tell people that Silksong has been canceled. I'd be like, I quit now, and I'm leaving. I would not. No amount of money. No amount of money would get me to do that.
That person, that hypothetical person, might actually just evaporate.
They wouldn't make. You'd be like, I'm sure some people would be like, well, no, like. You know, like, because people wouldn't track down their address or whatever. They would. First off, they would.
Yes, what do you mean? Yes, they would.
But also, more importantly than that, they wouldn't make it out of the building. People would rush. I know people would rush the stage. People who are there for Silksong would rush the stage. So. Lord, you know who I was thinking of? Do you remember the kid who got on stage at the Game Awards and was just on stage at the Game Awards? And that was a thing that happened? That was crazy. That was funny too. It's crazy.
Funny.
It's really.
But,
go on.
What I was going to say is, yeah, everyone rushes the stage, but the dude gets out.
Yeah.
He fucking like gets on the first plane to, I don't know, fucking Colombia or something.
Yeah.
He gets there. He's finally safe. He's in a hotel room. He goes to sleep for the night and then wakes up, and then there's like 4 people around him in the morning in hornet masks.
Oh Lord, in hornet that is good, because I was going to say, it's like, no, he's covered in bugs, Stealth. He's covered in bugs, but no, people surrounding him in hornet masks is even better, actually. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like, because there's been a lot, like Kingdom Hearts 3, Metroid Prime 4, there's been a lot of games where people are just like, man, this thing is taking forever to release, and I cannot wait for it. Silksong, I feel like, would create a more sort of visceral reaction, so. There's something about it. Because I think, like, to some degree, like, thinking of Metroid Prime 4, which is now coming out, I feel like there's a moment where people are like, it's not coming out. Silksong, part of Hollow Knight fans' identity at this point is deluding themselves into believing that Silksong is coming out.
Yeah.
And if you rip that away in such a matter-of-fact presentation, it'll go badly. So. Oh, Silksong is very funny though. I'm sure I'll be good when I should replay Hollow Knight before it comes out, but still. Just announced, game looks like it'll be coming out on December 32nd. The clock strikes midnight on New Year's Eve, and you just hear like a screaming in time and space, and December 32nd appears on the calendar. In what can only be described as a cosmologically horrifying event. Man, I was talking the other day about getting like science TikToks on my feed. And by the way, I don't want to keep bringing this up. I did get one about Man vs. Gorilla today from like I forgot, a natural science man who studies gorillas. He literally has gorilla skulls on his desk, and he was like, the gorilla will kill a lot of people. It also won't win. And I was like, thank you. But I've seen a lot of science go on.
He may be a gorilla expert, but he's a gorilla non-believer, so.
So what does that say about how he approaches his profession and life?
Yeah, just like a guy who's okay with losing. What the fuck?
Do you want to hire him, Museum?
No.
Anyway, but one of the science TikToks I've been seeing, many of them are like, you know, I'm pretty sure it's like I forget what that game's called. It's like Universe Sandbox or what have you. You know, game where you simulate space. And then they're talking about just like what would happen if like X, Y, and Z. And I hate it because so many of them are just like, put this astrological body in the Goldilocks zone where life can happen. And they're like, it doesn't have a magnetic field. Life perished from radiation poison. I'm like, man, fuck magnetic fields. Fucking hate those things. Fucking magnets.
Yeah, Magneto, what the fuck?
Yeah, but Magneto, go and start protecting Venus or some shit, you know? Like, start fostering lives on other planets if you're so strong. I like talking to chat and stuff about funny things in new games. Again, it'll probably be a while before I get my Switch 2. I don't know what's... Here's the thing, right? Like... I feel like we're not gonna get a Zelda for a hot minute. Maybe a new Kirby might be like the game where I'm like, okay, I have to get the Switch for that. But like, I feel like the one we're lined up for is a new Mario, and like, I'll get that. I don't know if I'm gonna get a whole new machine for it to like start out with, you know? Like, they'd have to be like best Mario ever, and I'd be like, well, damn it. So we'll see. I like Odyssey, but you know, I prefer. If I'm being honest, the Mario game I adored on Switch was Wonder. Wonder was great. So if they were like Wonder 2, I'd be like, well, damn it.
I did not finish Wonder.
I think I almost 100%ed it. I think I got all the Wonder Seeds. I liked it. What turned you off about itself? Do you remember?
I just didn't quite finish it.
That's fair. Mario versus Wonder Woman. It doesn't go how you'd expect. And what do we mean by that? Fucking pay us $80 and you'll find out. Lord, I realized how much. Speaking of, we were also talking about Warner Brothers fucking being shit at their jobs. I realized just how much they've done like DC crossovers. They did it with Ruby, which honestly, I wasn't happy about that because it was like, do not put the DC universe anywhere near Ruby for the sake of Ruby, to be clear. I do not. I don't want that happening. But also, now they're doing Sonic. I'm sure if Nintendo came calling, they'd be like, yeah, Mario versus the Justice League. We guess. Why not? I feel like they don't know what to do with the Justice League, honestly. Ruby RWBY J12 animated show. I don't know if where the rights to that are currently being held. I feel like I heard news about Rooster Teeth and stuff, but I don't know. I have kind of, yeah. I did kind of take a step back from it because I like the show, but Lord, if we're talking about stuff people on the internet like to get frothy over. Remember, kids, never talk about things on the internet. I promise. It will not go well.
Don't have opinions on the internet.
Nope.
Have opinions on the internet.
It's a bad idea. Just don't do it. Oh, okay. I'm going to keep saying man versus gorilla stuff, but I'm not going to try and be like, let me give my opinion. I just keep seeing stuff and it's funny. Because one guy was saying the exact thing when I got it mixed up. It was a girl. She was like, I'm not going to give my opinion on it. I'm just going to say some interesting things about it. One of them being that the pro-gorilla side has the most outlandish claims about gorillas, which I was saying at one point, where she was just like, the gorilla swings its arm, 12 people dead. Like,
yeah, that's what happens.
Like, what kind of gorillas?
Look, you've heard of girl math and guy math. This is gorilla math.
Well, I did look up, I think it was before that stream, I looked up gorillas fighting. They do, everyone's like, it would rip your face off. And I think that paleontologists said this too. The gorillas just swing on each other. They, I don't even want to say punch, they use their whole arm to like smack into another gorilla. And to be clear, if you're a person singular person, that'll suck. That'll suck a lot. But it's not an efficient way to murder a person. If I was going for speed, if I was speed running 100 men, I'd probably choose like a big cat or something, because you know them and going for like throats and stuff. They'd be all about it. Leaping from one man to the next. But yeah. Also, again, I was a little afraid with that VOD. I'll still put it on the YouTube channel. I hope no one thinks like it is wild to me hearing the gorilla arguments, but also it's not that big. In fact, the only way it gets that big is if you put 100 men in an enclosed space with a gorilla. I appreciate your 2 cents, JHL. That means a lot. Thank you. But yeah, like fucking, it only becomes that big when you actually try and simulate it, at which point I have a lot of concerns about the men and the gorilla. Because as someone who is on the guy side, a lot of guys are going to perish. It's not a good thing to try and recreate. Stealth, you know dinosaurs?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Do you think you could survive an encounter with any dinosaur?
I mean, probably the more tame ones that don't want to kill me.
That's fair. You know, I said that, and I thought about like the small carnivorous ones. I wasn't even thinking about the ones that just eat plants.
No, I feel like I'd be more fucked against raptors than a T-Rex.
Yeah.
It'd be more painful. Just more horrifically painful.
I asked the Detroit Lions about it. Most of the linemen said, just get a bunch of us, we'll take care of the gorilla. I don't know if that's true or not, Trom. That is very fun. Fucking, I want to be clear. The question is 100 men versus one gorilla. 100 very large football men versus a gorilla is very different math. Because in some cases, you might not even be able to distinguish the gorilla from the guys. There are some beefy dudes in football. They are. I know I'm not a sports guy, but everyone's like, yeah, the gorillas are. You gotta give it to the gorilla. It's like 600 pounds, pure muscle. And it's like, yeah, so are some football players. So, that's an exaggeration, but still, they big. Like big boys. You're getting concussions. Please stop getting concussions, big boys. I don't want that for you. I love how when I was a kid, like I feel as an adult, I feel like as a kid I had a very almost childlike perspective on football. And I've maintained that over the years. Because as a kid, I was like, I don't want to watch football because people are getting hurt. And then I grew up, and then I learned about the history of, like, concussions and brain injuries in the NFL. And I was like, okay, well, child me kind of hit it on the... got it and won. Child me was concerned about the football man. He was right to do so. You'd think over time you'd learn and it'd be like, no, they actually have, there's safety precautions in place to make sure that like, you know, it's all done above board. Not so. Not as much as you'd think. Fucking, I watched enough baseball because my dad used to take me to baseball games. They changed baseball helmets for better safety. They've changed baseball helmets to put like a little shield on one side to make sure you don't get clocked in the cheek by a baseball. But football is just like, nah, you got this. Tough skull, tough skull. Are we talking about 100 of the star linemen or 100 kickers? And he goes, 100 kickers. So 100 kickers would be a nightmare for a gorilla. because the gorilla would go for the torso. And then you... and that's leaving the weapons exposed. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think a gorilla has been kicked before. I don't think that's a thing that's happened. We can debate this all day till the cows come home on either side. I feel confident in the fact that I don't think anything's ever kicked a gorilla. I don't think anything's ever been like, yeah, I'll roll that dice. But I mean, if you don't give them a choice, then, you know, it's like, well, better this than nothing. Stealth, let me pose you a new question to sweep the internet by storm. Are you ready?
Does it have to do with a hypothetical involving a giant fetus that slams shit around?
No. That being said, every time I watch that clip back, I laugh again. Just because I'm wheezing out my question. But I was going to say, who would win in a fight? 100 average men or the gorilla specifically from that one SpongeBob episode about the indoors?
Well, considering I have not seen that SpongeBob episode of the indoors, I have no fucking idea what you're asking me.
That's a classic episode. He rips SpongeBob in half, and then SpongeBob was like...
that was a Cartoon Network.
That's fair.
I literally did not watch more than, like, 2 episodes of SpongeBob.
Damn.
That my cousin was watching.
That's a good episode, yeah. But yeah, like, fucking, like, SpongeBob goes outside and there's a gorilla waiting for him, and it rips him in half, and then he's just like, I just have one... I'm not joking. And he's just like, I just have one question. And he's like, what's that? And it's like, what is a gorilla doing underwater? And then the gorilla goes, and they're like, George, we're on to us. And then he hops on a zebra and rides into the sunset. And that's where the episode ends.
That is high comedy.
That is, it's an all-time bit. People have posted it since it came out for a very good reason. Like, this is why I talk about, because like, people have said before, I've heard people say before, it's like, you can't just be like, watch this part, and that's the good part, and then it's fine. If like the rest of the series is bad, yada yada yada, you can't just pick and choose. At the same time though, in the climate we live in, if the original creator of a project says, I want it to end it here, aka like after 5 seasons and the SpongeBob movie came out, and then he left SpongeBob for like 20 years after that, and this show was a little less funny all the time, I feel like I can say, no, if you want to watch SpongeBob, watch the first 5 seasons. And then if you're really dying for some more, you can watch the rest until you're tired of it. But like...
the same.
Exactly. But like, I feel like there is a point in saying like, SpongeBob is the first 5 seasons of the movie, not to try and gatekeep it, but specifically because the original creator wanted it that way, but the studio didn't give him a choice. But you have a choice. You can be like, and there are good SpongeBob episodes after after Hillenburg left, God rest his soul. But like, I can recognize that. I can have favorite episodes that take place after that cutoff, and still be just like, no, first five seasons. So. You know, like, to some degree, I feel like it's taking things back after, you know, studio people are just like, no, we just always have to be making more. So, and sometimes that does mean there will be new golden ages for some shows and movies and stuff, but I think you're also completely fine if you want to ignore some of the ones they made just because they were trying to milk it, and then you're just like, that one doesn't count. Fucking, I should know what I'm talking about. I like Star Wars. There is no... Here's the problem, right? You can try that with Star Wars. There's not a golden area. Because George Lucas is an insane person. And then also the studios want to milk it also. So... It's like, where you cut it off, I don't know. George just put out a new post about the canon. Maybe see what that says first. Wow. Hey, guys, did you see this? George Lucas just put out a new thing on the Star Wars site about like an updated canon, and all it says is Jar Jar Binks is pregnant. Why would he say that?
Why did I know it was gonna involve Jar Jar?
because it is legitimately funny that when you do trace it back, like legitimately the tragic story of Star Wars as it takes place over the course of like the original series, you can legitimately trace everything back to Jar Jar existing and making a very bad decision. I don't know if you've seen Star Wars Stealth, but that is not an exaggeration, and it has led some people to be like, Jar Jar is the most important character and also maybe a Sith Lord. So.
He's not very politically savvy.
No. And then even now Star Wars is leading into that, and honestly, as far as a shit post from a company goes, that's fine. That's kind of good. They could tone it back a little, but I can also appreciate them for embracing that specific meme.
Darth Binks.
Darth Binks. Yeah, Star Wars funny. Wildly swinging pendulum between Star Wars is an important piece of political commentary that does legitimately have important things to say, and Star Wars funny. So, do y'all remember when Qui-Gon Jinn, who altogether was one of the more like one of the better and kinder Jedi Masters for his time and just in general. Do you remember when he bought a child in slavery and was just like, this works for me? And then the kid was like, can our mother come? And he said, no. He took the kid. That was very good. That was the plot point of a movie. Oh, Qui-Gon. Oh, Liam Neeson. That kid really was taken. So, if you know about, to be fair, he did try to get the mother. He tried. He really tried. I do wonder if things would have gone better like that. Because here's the problem, right? Like, let's say they did get her. Fucking the Jedi Council would be like, you can't have a mom. That's illegal. That would have sucked. I guess Annie would have been like, oh, well, she's alive and okay. I guess that's better. Better than nothing, but... I was thinking on. Stealth, you know about Glup Shido, right?
No. No. That's a very unfortunate name.
Okay, well, so it's a fake name. Glup Shido is a meme turned into a phrase where someone put out a tweet, right? And they're like, Star Wars characters will get so excited and be like, look, Glup Shido is in the new TV show. Talking about how, like, they'll get it. No. Well, yes, kind of. Because if you just watch the movies, you have no fucking clue who Kit Fisto is. But, like, that's the point. It's like the Star Wars fans will get really attached to characters who you have to have like 2 lines of dialogue in a spin-off book that came out in 2002, and then they put them in the movie and everyone freaks out about it, right? But then also, like, there is legitimate moments where, like, oh my goodness, lesser known character is in a major new TV show. That happened very genuinely in, like, I think season 2 of The Mandalorian, where one of the animated characters was in a season, and everyone's like, look, and then everyone said, Glup Shido. So, it's funny, because, like, on one hand, you're completely valid for getting attached to a character that you read in, like, you know, random comic you got or whatever. But then also it's saying Glup Shido and pointing out how no one else knows about the character. Also very funny. So... You know what I'm reminded of as I draw this comic? If my character is going to drink? Luffy doesn't like drinky. Well, that too. Luffy doesn't like drinking, does he?
I don't think that's true.
But there's been multiple panels, like, because he'll drink at parties, yeah. But there's also multiple panels where, like, he takes a swig of something and he's like, this is gross, get me some, like, juice or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
I swear I remember. Am I... Oh no. Like, going crazy? Oh my lord. Okay. Let me tell the story from hospital work today. Right? So I go to a room to pick up a lady for an appointment she has, right? You with me so far? And a nurse comes up to me and says, "Oh, are you here for lady for her appointment?" And I say, "Yes, I am." And she's like, "All right, well, she's all ready for you," right? So that's the nurse of the room, right? I go in and I check in on lady, and she's like, "Well, I'm eating my lunch right now. Can we wait?" And I'm like, "Let me call." And they're like, "Yeah, you can wait for like, you can reschedule it for like 10 minutes from now." I was like, "That's perfect." So I tell the lady and I go away, do other things at my job, right? 10 minutes later, which doesn't always happen, I get the call to go pick up lady again and bring her for her appointment, right? And she's done lunch, right? So I go back up, and that nurse I was talking to before, who told me lady was ready to go for her appointment, she's sitting in the same place, which is like right next to the person's room. So I'm just like, "Hey, I'm here to pick up lady again." Okay? And she's like, "Okay, great." And then I'm like, "Is she ready?" And she was like, "I have no idea." And I'm like, "Well, that was weird, but okay." So I go in and I talk to lady, right? And I'm like, we're all like, and she's like, "Yep, I'm ready for my appointment." And then I'm like, "All right, let me just go do something real quick." And then a different nurse is outside, and she's like, "Oh, are you here for lady?" And I'm like, "Yeah, who are you?" And she's like, "I'm her nurse." This is a completely different person from who I've been talking to twice now, right? And I'm like, "Wait, if you're her nurse," I turn around, the nurse I've been talking to was gone. She wasn't there anymore. And like, I legitimately start panicking, and I was just like, but she was, I came up here and she was, and she was like, "Oh, they were covering for me while I was on lunch." And then the nurse I had been talking to popped out of a different room I guess they had walked into while I was talking, but like, legitimately like a Scooby-Doo episode. I turned around and I was like, "Wait, but I thought she wasn't there anymore." It was very funny. I tell you something for real though. If that had happened, like, if I didn't get an explanation for that, I would be calling out of work the next day. And like, I say that for a lot of things. If I had genuinely been led to believe I had some kind of psychotic break and I was imagining nurses in hallways now, I would have been like, "I'm going to take a vacation. I don't care if I'm scheduled to or not. I need a break." I'd be very scared. Fun times. Nice at work. Oh Lord. It's kind of weird. As much as I will get stressed at, I feel like the last 2 jobs I've had, honestly, I've been like, I'm so stressed the fuck out of this job. Just trying to do a good job and keep it. I don't have dreams about it usually though. Like, I've had dreams about school after having left school. but I've never really had a dream about a job that I have had or am having. But you know, okay, I sketched some stuff out and drew their faces. I'm gonna call it an early night though, because do you remember how I said that I was at my job today? This might shock you. I have to go to my job tomorrow. So.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah. If you would like that not to be the case, consider subscribing to my Patreon. So. This might shock you. If enough people were to do that, I would be able to just stream all the time. So. And I'd like that. If you like that, that remains to be seen. But fucking. I'd like it. So let's find someone to raid. Yeah, we'll be here next week. I'm going to try. Something came up which makes me think I might not be able to stream Wednesday. If I'm not able to, I'll probably do 2 streams of Sonic, and then the week after we'll start Oblivion, and then more Sonic and yada yada yada. We'll see. I'm gonna try to stream Wednesday. It's just stuff came up, and I might not be able to get away for that time to stream. I try to. Honestly, one of the reasons I stream a little earlier is because I do my best to section off like the hour before I start streaming, and then, you know, while I'm streaming. But sometimes real life requires stuff. Cahill is driving to an airport on Wednesday. You don't need to go to the airport, Greg. You have a ship in your house. It crashed there yesterday. You can take that anywhere.
Tomorrow.
You will continue to have multiple ships in your house. Let's raid Gam. He's working on the Barry's highlights, and also he was the one who discovered Detective Penguin and fucking continuity. I feel that. All right, the bit. So, but yeah. So we're gonna raid Gam for a chill time. Maybe I'll use Twitch's knock feature to just fucking interrupt the stream, which is still the weirdest thing they've ever decided to do.
Yeah, what? No, what? Why did they do that again?
An amazing question, because Twitch doesn't know how to run their website. Anyway, hopefully my stream isn't taken down for that. I'll see y'all next week. Bye!